welcome to Tennis Sucks. We've got Travis Rettenmeyer, Graham D'Amico, and special guest Donald Young. Welcome, Donald, to the pod.
Thanks, glad to be here.
We are at Major League Pickleball, actually filming on the minor league courts right behind us. We got the Duper 14 playoffs right here. So it's a good time. So how's you guys' experience in Miami so far?
It's been great, other than Ruben Pressman's involvement.
Why is that?
I've never learned so much and yet felt so demeaned in my entire life, like I didn't know anything.
Okay.
I don't think he's made an appropriate selection yet. But he said it with such firmness. And Graham tells me he's a phenomenal salesman. Is that right?
Yeah.
Phenomenal? He has to be, because the other night I was falling asleep at the table, legitimately, like, didn't want to be there at all. I didn't say a word, which is very rare for me. And he convinced me to buy a steak, the tomahawk steak, which on the menu said takes 40 minutes at a minimum to cook. And how did that turn out, Graham?
I complained first. I said, I'm not waiting an hour for my food. And he goes, oh, no, they'll bring your food out when it's ready. And I was like, it doesn't seem like they will.
Yeah, everything he said was wrong.
Everything. It took over an hour. We all sat there in silence waiting for this tomahawk steak. And it was overpriced and apparently not very good.
And then again, like, I wanted pasta first. He said, the pasta's going to come out. You'll be fine. Pasta didn't come out till the food came out. Their food didn't come out till the food came out. And then when we cut the meat, first he was like, oh my God, this looks great. It's fantastic. Oh my God, you're so happy I took advantage of everything and took control of every single thing. Does the fucking Caesar have anchovies? It better have anchovies. Okay, anyway, fucking shit was hamburger helper. $150 hamburger helper. I could have gotten a better steak at Outback. So Ruben, from now on, your culinary expertise and masterness, keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Graham had some good recommendations. So he took us to Highlight yesterday.
Graham's very smart. I trust Graham's judgment.
Yeah.
I do not trust Ruben's judgment.
Highlight was a blast.
I'm
I
just
thought,
kidding.
even though you
Ruben,
couldn't
you're
gamble
fantastic.
on it. We had a great time at Highlight.
Yeah, no, that was really fun. Even though you couldn't gamble on it, I felt like I wanted to yell at the players, and I was excited about the speed of the ball.
By the way, that was slower than it normally is because they put a glass wall in so spectators could see it from the front. But normally it's a concrete wall and the ball actually comes off even faster when it's
terrifying.
not the glass wall.
Wow.
But I mean, either way, they're throwing the thing at an abnormally fast pace. And I do want to know, like, what's happened when someone gets hit.
Gets hit. It can't be good. Broken bones,
Broken
minimum.
bones. That's what I was asking him. And I
Like
said,
a
like
broken arm.
orbital bone,
Oh,
maybe.
done.
Face done.
Crush your whole face in.
Yeah, it was quite terrifying. But a super cool experience. I mean, yeah, Highlight. Sorry, I was corrected when one Gimmel style to get pissed. Highlight was cool.
Yeah.
It was great.
What did you think about it, Donald? What's your perspective on Highlight?
I enjoyed it. I had a
Yeah.
lot of fun. Like, again, I didn't expect to see it. I've never seen it before. I think you won a jersey, didn't you?
That's
You
right.
had to do a little
That was a
dance
great
for
part
it.
of the night.
Yeah, that was the
Yeah,
best part.
just always keep the YMCA in your back pocket, and then sometimes you might win yourself a jersey.
You know, I liked it. It was
Yeah,
fun.
that's cool.
It was fast.
How good do you think you guys would be if you tried Highlight?
Probably not very good, to be honest.
I agree with Travis.
Yeah, I think I would really
I'm-
struggle. I
yeah.
want to say something like arrogant, like, oh, I would be terrible. And I'd be terrified. The biggest thing is I don't want to get hurt. I don't like things where I could potentially get injured. And I feel like I'd be dropping to the ground, laying down if anyone behind me was throwing the ball. First of all, because I wouldn't trust them.
That's a sport where how do you ever learn? You can't put 4 beginners in the same court.
Right. They're
It's
going to
just-
hit you.
Every single one's going to get hit.
Yeah.
Because those guys know like where to move and when to move.
Right.
But when you're starting, you wouldn't know that. And you would just be taking balls.
Well, but that's the question. Do they have like a starter pack ball that doesn't hurt?
They must.
Yeah, baby
You know, like a
ball.
foam one?
Yeah, they should.
As opposed to just a rubber pellet?
Yeah, and maybe the size of the arm thing is bigger, so you can catch it a little easier. Because those things aren't very
No.
wide to catch that
No, it's
tiny
difficult.
ball.
And Ruben, I take it back. You're a wonderful person. Just, you're you.
I take it back. He took it back in within 5 minutes.
Well, I never meant it for real. I mean, it's just like, he's like he's a very, I'm extremely demonstrative. I feel like he makes me small.
Got a big personality.
He's got
That's
a
funny.
huge fucking personality.
Yeah. So tennis players, not so much converting to Highlight, but definitely in this case to pickleball. Donald, why don't you give us a bit of a recap on your entry into pickleball from tennis?
Yeah, so my kind of start was interesting. It was my dad was working at Peachtree City Tennis Center where there was a PPA tournament. My parents were there teaching some lessons, and a pickleball event, a PPA event came there, and I was walking around and I was like, what's this? I watched someone cramp up on like the mini court. I thought like there's no way you cramping up on like a fourth of this court. And then I asked around like how much these guys getting paid, and then they said it's a decent number. I was like, oh man, I think I could do this. So so that was funny. So I asked around and then ended up getting in touch and meeting Connor Pardo. And later that year, he hit me up to captain one of the teams at a bubbly event. There was 4 tennis players going to captain a PPA squad. And I did that, and he was like, "You've been playing?" I was like, "Yeah, of course I've been playing, but I hadn't picked up a paddle, so I kind of."
Which paddle did you play with in the bubbly?
I had a diadem paddle actually. My first paddle was a diadem
Warrior?
paddle. The diadem warrior.
That's
the
a good
red and
paddle.
black one. Yeah,
It's a pretty good paddle.
that was my first paddle. Went to Dick's, picked up I thought was expensive $80 head paddle, and I was like, I'm not spending 120. It seems like too much, so I picked it up. Went out there, had some balls, 4 Franklin balls, and hit around. And some guys came up that ended up now being my business partners, but came up to me like, "You want to hit?" And they asked me for a fourth. And that's something that never happened in tennis. It was never that open and inviting. I'd never go up to the park and someone's like, "You want to play? We need a fourth." So that was cool, and that was kind of my introduction. And here I am.
That's cool.
That's funny that, I mean, a huge part of that I hear is like, because it's similar with me and him to some regard. Some guy you just met randomly at a park is your business partner. And Graham was a random guy that I saw sitting watching rec play that I thought was really weird. And then suddenly within months, it was like we had all these things intertwined. It's like, how'd this happen? But it happens. And that's like the beauty of pickleball. These really odd people from all different walks of life, you somehow get, cross-pollinated with, and you're marketing things, and you're in business together, and you're all interested somehow in the same thing, which is pickleball. And that's like the commonality that makes it cool.
It was not too long ago that you were competing in the US Open. I think that you've been asked this a lot, but I mean, just for kind of the sake of asking, what's the future for you with tennis? Are you going to play again, or?
Yeah, that was in for me. Initially going into play was just not to embarrass myself. So I successfully did that and did a lot better than I thought I would. But it helped. I had a great partner, Taylor. She had won Wimbledon doubles earlier this year. She's feeling good. So. Wow. And I'd been practicing quite a bit because I didn't want to go out there and embarrass myself. That'd have been the worst way to go out.
Do you
for me
feel
personally.
like you played well in the first match? I didn't watch the first one.
I did. I actually played a lot better in the first match. I feel like that would be the
one where you'd be like, shit, how am I?
Yeah.
Am I any good?
Right. It started slow. I was tight. But then that we loosened up. I think we won the first set maybe in a breaker or 7-5, and then we won the second 6-0. And then after that, I was like, yeah, I'm playing pretty good.
Sharp.
Yeah, so it kind of clicked in. But I'd been hitting, so I was in the space of playing well and hitting the ball, but competing, as you know, it's totally different from the practice
Did
court.
you feel like after you got through the first one, because I had the feeling just as like a viewer, I was like, I feel like it's a 50-50 in the first one, maybe even 7-30 you're going to lose. But if he gets through the first one, then something could happen here.
Oh, 100%. And that's how I always feel. I did have that feeling.
I had it too. I was like, oh, he's going to make a run now.
Right. I looked at the draw. I was like, oh, I don't know some of these guys, but they're pretty good. And I always felt like, not to be funny, but if I'm playing well, at least the girl on the other side I could be competitive with or better.
Come on.
So
don't sell yourself short there.
so that's where I felt. So if I could do that, and I knew Taylor would hold her own, we'd be all right.
Yeah, no, it looked like you guys were gelling really well, which is cool because you guys have been friends for what, since she was a kid, right?
Oh,
like
man.
Babies.
Yeah, I've known her before she was born. I was the ring bearer in her parents' wedding.
There you go.
So yeah, my parents were her first coaches. Saw her in the cradle. I used to bully them, cheat them in board games all the time because they couldn't count. So I've had a long history of knowing them.
That's about as good of a storybook ending as it can be. You know, given the circumstances and everything that's gone on through the time that you were, 15 years old, just starting on the tour to then. That's a great ending. It's nice that because as you know, like tennis can be very traumatic, and I want Donald to allude to this a little more. You're young and you're the best player in the world, and you have all these expectations, and then it can be very hard. It can be like, oh, you're not living up to this, and you're not this, and you're not this, and you're not this. And so to see it kind of like end with something that was wholesome and pretty and a fond memory, that's rare. I think that's a really unique ending.
Yeah, it was, and that was pretty cool. I was really happy to have done well there because I decided it was my last turn to kind of carve out a space there that I got a chance for them to play my retirement video. Yep. Like have some real time where people can kind of focus and really celebrate the whole career. I played 20 plus years. And from the start of it, I was just playing to get a college scholarship at 13, that's kind of locked down. So now what's next? And couldn't afford to travel on my own. So I had to sign and become a pro. And then at 15, you're one in the world. You kind of mess around and do that because you just love the game and you're trying and training so hard. And now you're you're supposed to be the #1 pro or senior pro in the world, and that doesn't really happen that way at 15.
Weren't you in a rap song at that age? Do you remember that?
I was.
Of course you remember.
This guy made a song. Yes, he did make a song for me, and it was
I
pretty
remember
cool.
that
Yeah, I was into it, and
I didn't like it. I was pissed.
Yeah,
Let me tell you, my first Donald Young experience, Lexington Challenger. I see this little kid roll up. First of all, at that time I was like probably 20. How old are you?
I was 35. Yeah.
So I was fucking 21. I was probably fighting for a spot, and this little 15-year-old guy rolls up. Always wearing the hat like this. Okay, never wore it normal. Only sideways, earrings. And I was like, this cocky fucking kid coming in, thinks he's all good. And then he was getting deals with Nike. He was getting every wild card. And I was like, but sure enough, as it's funny because we didn't really have a relationship in tennis. And then again, pickleball comes around. But I saw this little kid, 15, and no one was getting wild cards at 15 at that age. So we all knew that this guy was really hyped, and there was the feeling or the expectation that you were going to be the Tiger Woods of tennis.
Yeah.
Right? Like that was the logic.
Right.
Was it not?
It was the logic. Yeah, that's 100% what they thought. That's why the brands all signed on and
Right.
jumped on. I mean, a little ambitious to think a 15-year-old was going to beat 25-year-old, even someone
Very
your
hard,
age,
yeah.
because looking back at me at 25, there's no way I'm going to ever let a 50-year-old beat me at a
Of course
physical
not.
sport. I'm going to kill myself before this happens. And that's basically what everyone went out there. He's not going to get our first win on me. So
right.
it was a lot, not necessarily harder, but maybe in a sense, but
Do you think that was the most traumatic portion for you, being
yeah.
young and always winning, and then suddenly you're playing with these fucking dudes who are, lifetime professionals?
Yeah.
Do you think that had a negative impact on your career as you progressed?
100% in the beginning stage and the development of becoming a pro, because it definitely sets
lose
you back.
comfy.
Yeah, you lose comfy. Like, I mean, you go from winning all the time to all of a sudden you're losing all the time. And now you're not even comfortable in your environment because you can't relate to the people there because they're a lot older.
Right.
And it's just a bunch of things together. And then you're not meeting expectation is totally new because you're used to being that guy. And it just threw off everything. It got to the point I didn't want to play
Please
anymore.
cut me off at any time because
Yeah.
I could ask questions like this all
Okay.
day. But yeah, you were in this world where, like, even when you didn't break top 100, do you feel like there was still like an aura of it's not enough?
Yeah.
Did you feel that?
Yeah, I felt that. Funny enough, I won my first challenger at 17.
Did you really?
Yeah, I won Aptos when I was 17.
Fucking A. Like,
Yeah.
That's a great result.
Right.
That's a huge challenger.
It was a 60 at the time. Those were
Right.
big. We only had like one, and then Vancouver, which is not in the U.S. And then I was top 100 at 18. I was 70 in the world. So
Like, you look at that now.
if you look at that result now, it would be like, oh man, this guy is amazing.
Yeah,
But
a little context. Like when we were
Yeah.
growing up, if you weren't, your 25 was your peak, and if you weren't like the best player in the world by the time you're 25, you're done. It was over. Now guys break into the top 100 at 28, 29, 30. That was not heard of then. If you weren't top 100 by the time you were 18, then you were not going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
That was the logic for whatever reason, and that changed and morphed. And so, anyway, like I said, I could go on and on with these questions because I empathize with the fact that you have this. And I had it on a different level, like not to nearly the same scale, but you have an expectation. You have a thought process of what you're going to be. And all these people are putting expectations on you. And really all you need to do is just keep going and playing and trying to have fun and enjoying the process. And that can go away so fast. It goes from tennis is something I really enjoy to this is how I make money. This is how my family's profiting. And I fucking suck apparently in a minute.
yeah,
Well, I've got a question for the time that you spent at the US Open. How much of the tennis players was talking about pickleball?
Great question.
it's a great question. Actually, a lot.
Really?
I pulled up to the locker room, and the first thing they were like, "DY, I've been watching the pickleball.
Yeah.
Like, I like it. I've been seeing some of the winners. You're just hitting winners." And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "You tried it?" He was like, "Yeah, I've actually gone out there,
Yeah.
with some friends." I was like, "You got to get out there more." And they actually all pretty much want to try it. Another big joke was that rack is a little too big for you. Like,
Really?
yeah, the tennis rack
Nice.
was too big. Like, I think that rack is too big. You even know how to hold that anymore. And there was a lot of jokes like that. And but the guys were very curious. Girls too. Sloane Stevens came up,
Yeah.
asked me about it. What's the life like?
Yeah.
What does it look like? I've been seeing stuff. A lot of, and Taylor Townsend, my partner, I've gotten her out there a few times.
Yeah.
She loves it.
No,
Yeah.
she's probably good.
She loves it. She picked up so quick.
Oh my God, she had great
loves
hands.
it. Yes, she loves it.
Do you think that every tennis player is just waiting for the time to like make the transition at this point because they have more fun playing pickleball? Or what's your take on that?
No, they're not waiting. They just don't know, and it's so new.
Yeah.
But if the right financials hit, a lot of them would think about it for sure.
That's funny. Yeah. So what was it, that phrase that Agassi said, pickleball is where tennis players
Go to die.
Go to die, but he meant it like
He meant it like pickleball is so fun that once you play pickleball,
You don't go
particularly as a
back,
recreational player, you're no longer going to play tennis
Yeah.
because pickleball is more fun.
right. Exactly. Yeah.
I guess that's a good segue.
Yeah,
like,
that
do you
is.
feel like for you at this juncture, pickleball is more fun than going to play tennis, or do you still prefer to go play tennis?
So I'm weird. You know, I've always loved playing and hitting the tennis ball, and
Yeah.
nothing feels better than me than like striking it clean, you know, and like feeling that. But the
I don't feel that
competing
often, but I understand what you're talking about. Yeah.
Right. The competing part I don't miss, but the hitting the ball I enjoy to do, you know, maybe a couple times a week if I have a chance. But I really love and enjoy pickleball because I can see myself actually getting better daily with the proper practice.
Right.
Guys like Travis helping me out and just learning the game. And it's like I'm a kid again, and I feel like I'm improving every day.
Yeah.
And that's what tennis used to be like as a kid.
Right.
Where like you play with someone better, and then now you're better, and then now you can beat this guy, and then it's the next level. It's like a video game.
Yeah.
And in tennis, you kind of hit a point where you can get better, but
You are what you are.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is what it is. You know,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
exactly.
serve 140 or
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, hits this
There's
amazing
limitations.
slice backhand, just practicing it for a week or two.
Yeah, but now you are a grown man and have 17-year-olds beating you.
That
What do you
is
think about
funny.
that?
You know what?
That's not funny.
You know,
We beat their ass yesterday.
we did. But you know how I get over on this mentally? It's like they've been playing longer.
Mm, I got
that's how I
you.
A lot
mentally,
longer.
I make myself feel better. You know what? Like, they've been playing
Don't
longer
worry,
than
that
me.
guy's 5'6", 110 pounds, and just stroked you.
Exactly.
Hey, he's good, dude. Hey, and we're talking about you,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah, no,
one else is 5'6", 110, bub.
Those guys are the truth. No, it's fun to play. And
Yeah.
like, again, they're actually the 25-year-old adult in tennis for me because they're helping me get better.
Yeah.
So playing it with their level, I'm just seeing what they can and cannot do, and I'm improving.
Yeah.
Were you like yesterday playing Gabe a little bit? Did it, I don't want to say shock you, it's not the right word, but like, damn, that's tricky. Like there was a lot of shit that you maybe hadn't seen that much of before?
Yeah, it's a lot of movement before he hits a shot. So you got to kind of figure out, take out the movement and see the actual meat and potatoes of the shot.
Right. It's hard to not watch his body and all the
Exactly.
stuff he's doing,
Right.
and then the ball just goes there.
Yeah, you got to try to
That's interesting.
block that out. But it's tough to do when you're so close to someone because you
Right.
need to watch
Yeah,
everything
you're supposed to
they're
watch
doing.
the body.
Right,
But
exactly.
he's tripping you up with the body.
100%.
So in previous episodes, Travis has given his take on the types of tennis players that convert well over to pickleball and who he thinks would or wouldn't convert well. Do you have the same kind of take? You think that there are certain types of tennis players that would do well if they transition at this point?
100%. There's guys that you wouldn't be able to even hold the paddle right because all they do is serve and hit a forehand and can't volley, no hands are bricks. And then you have guys who like
God, I could just lash it right now,
you're
but I
right.
won't.
Naturally have like just feel for the ball. They might not volley well or do it, but they just feel the ball well and kind of put it where they want. And I think those are the type of guys that would be great at pickleball. And then you'd be shocked because some of the guys that wouldn't be great at pickleball are the top tennis players or are really good at tennis because
Right.
it's something they can do two things really, really well. And that's enough in tennis, two weapons, and you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe they just win with like consistency and pure athleticism.
Mhm.
That's not really an option
Right.
here.
Exactly. No, you have to have the skill set.
You have to have a skill set.
Did you guys play tennis together at some point? Or how did that work?
You can answer that. We've played each other once.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I'm 1-0.
Oh,
When
that's
that's a
tough.
challenger, we honestly neither of us remembered the match at all.
Oh my
I looked it up because I was trying to look up something for pickleball, and I put like Donald Young, Travis Redmeyer, and sure enough, it was like Winnetka Challenger 2008. He was playing with Nick Monroe, and I was playing with Karsten Ball, 4-4. And so I sent it to him right away. Like, hey, sorry, man. I was feeling it that day.
That was a chop too. 4-4 at Dubs is
That's a
straightforward.
chop. That's a
straightforward.
beatdown.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I gotta get on Nick about that because I don't remember that.
Yeah, but nobody's breaking Karsten at that moment. He was serving well. It was
that's fair
night.
enough. Yeah, true.
I used to play games with him literally, and I'd be like, hey, Karsten, 5-4, you're serving the match. I don't want to touch the ball. If I touch the ball, I'm missing on purpose because he served that big.
It's fun. So here's a question. So what's the biggest difference in pickleball now for you now from compared to when you started?
I'm a lot better, so I feel better about myself.
Yeah.
I felt pretty naked and exposed out there when I initially started, especially playing with better players. It felt like it actually was upsetting because I was like, there's no way that on this bigger court I can run you over, but on this court you're absolutely handling me and
Right.
making me
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
bad, like I'm inadequate.
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
you think when you started that you were gonna be, like crush guys because you would look like me, for instance? I looked at the guy's tennis past. And I was like D3, fucking high school guy. I'm gonna fuck these guys up on day one. And sure enough, I came out and I think the first tournament I played with Ryan Sherry. We lost like 11-1, 11-0 to Tyson and Diescu.
Oh.
And exactly. And
Yeah.
it was like, oh, I'm wrong, and I got discouraged, really discouraged. Did you have the feeling that you were going to walk in and it was going to be easy? Because it seems to me like a lot of tennis guys have that feeling.
Like in my mind, it would have been like that if I had not done that event,
The bubbly one.
bubbly event, and where I actually saw like the players and whatnot. But initially, when you're just looking at what they've done on the tennis court, because that's all you can go off of,
Right.
you feel like,
No chance.
yeah, no way,
Right. No way.
because we're doing something that's so similar. I just add a little bit, it's gonna be lights out.
So does that nuance surprise you that there are so many subtleties like as you progress and, oh shit, I got to learn this and I got to learn this and I got to learn this and I got to learn this. And I guess
Yeah.
that's what the other part of Luke's question is like, since you started, what do you notice for yourself from a strategic perspective, technological perspective? What things are like, oh, these are different or these are changing. This is the game evolving. What do you see there?
It's I think it's more so the mindset that you have, right? Like tennis, you're trying to hit through or by the guy or somewhere get around him to some extent, but with power of you're not gonna beat the best players with
Just bully 'em.
yeah, with like off pace stuff like in tennis. But pickleball, you could just outmaneuver, outguile the guys, be smarter, make your shots and beat the guys.
Graham's really good at that. He's got a lot of guile.
Yeah,
Right?
We
Show
play.
A.
He's real good.
Flip B. Very crafty.
he is crafty. He talks
Ruben's
smack
crafty
too.
too, but they don't go in ever. So duck.
You guys, so you like talking shit on the court too, though, right? I feel.
I enjoy it. I loved it
Yeah.
in tennis, but it just doesn't work. Guys get emotional in their feelings, and for whatever reason, it just doesn't fit the game. You
Yeah,
know.
okay.
But here it seems pretty open.
Yeah.
and definitely watching and being on the same side as Travis to listen to it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I can get away with that.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
that works too. so
Yeah.
I can tell you were like inquisitive, like, hey, you can say whatever you want.
I
Yeah,
was like,
pretty
it
much.
was kind of shocking because I'm looking for a response or the rep or someone to say
Yeah.
something, and then it's like, oh, that was cool.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting, and I enjoy it. And initially, when I started, the guys talk smack too, so that helped a little bit.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that make you play better if people are shit talking you, or does that get in your head?
I like it when it. Yeah, I like the talking, not like the weird actions and
Right,
stuff.
there's a line.
Yeah, there's a line. I like talking.
Don't disrespect me.
Yeah, exactly.
And I
yeah.
don't disrespect you. We can talk
100%.
shit, but
Yeah.
don't disrespect me.
Yeah,
Got
yeah,
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I mean, when you shrink the court down to that size, your opponents are a lot closer than they are on a tennis
That's a
court.
big
So
one,
you,
yeah.
you get to hear almost everything that's being said. So
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
that's funny.
My favorite thing Travis says to players is, "It's broken." So
Oh,
if their
nice.
shot is broken,
That guy's back in,
Yeah,
things broken
that-
right
that-
there. That's your spot.
I tell everyone that, and they all die. That's the best one I've heard. Because you in tennis, that's a fight. You tell me after I miss a big shot that is broken, we're having a problem.
Yeah, I stole that one. I got to be honest. That's a Matt Wright one. So
Okay,
Matt, I
okay.
stole that.
Okay.
That guy's back in it. He goes, go right there. We're gonna get a lot of good looks. That's classic.
Do you enjoy playing all formats, or do you have a preference on any of the formats at this point?
I'm new to MLP, but I enjoy it. The team aspect, playing for someone else and not just yourself. Obviously, the playing for yourself comes more natural because I'm more used to that.
Yeah.
But playing more doubles is also great because in tennis, I would have loved to have played more doubles than I did.
Yeah, I was surprised how good you were at doubles. So just in context, Donald made finals of the French Open in doubles, actually with my old partner, Santiago Gonzalez. And I was surprised you didn't play more.
Yeah,
Like you didn't play as like a lot of the guys who sit around, the 50 to 100 range in
Yeah.
singles will play a lot of dubs at some
Mhm.
point. You never did.
no, I just didn't. Yeah, I don't know why. That's a regret that I wish I
really?
would have definitely done more
Just pursued
because
it more
that year we made the finals.
because you were filthy in it.
I only played like 8 tournaments.
Right.
And got to like 40 in the world. So it was like if I would have really gave it some time and effort and had a real partner, I don't know what could have been done. And so in that sense, but my generation, like playing doubles, you were kind of like
Quitting.
if you just did that, it was like, oh, you weren't like,
Yeah.
you
You gave
up to
up.
par, you gave up.
Sure.
So that was a product of that mindset, which wasn't great. But so that's really why I didn't play much.
And then your drive has become almost famous now on the tour. I think they we'll be watching you play, and the commentators just like laugh sometimes at like how fast that thing comes off. How did you? Is that just something that came straight from tennis, or did you work on getting that drive in pickleball so strong?
The power came from tennis, but making it's been something I've been working on quite a bit because I couldn't make it for the life of me initially. Just hitting the fence, the third strap up from the net, the top of the net, and to get the feel of that took a long time, and a long time for how long I've been playing. And
did you change anything technically? Like, was your swing a little did relative to tennis? Like, would you make it a little more compact?
yes, I had to go almost old school tennis stroke. You know, like more that
For you,
hand
old
out,
school.
old school tennis stroke, hand out, like more Eastern continental kind of drive straight at the net strap, no real height. You just have to unlearn some habits that are engraved in you, like, you know, ingrained for, you know, forever. In
Yeah, 'cause in tennis, you want to like the net's the first hurdle. So you're initially told like clear that by 4 to 5 feet and then get the ball deep. That's not a reality here. 4 to 5 feet over the net's getting fucking slaughtered or it's going long.
Right. 100%.
So now you're on the Florida Smash, Graham. Why don't you talk us through, like, did you have your eyes on Donald when you were looking to build a team, or how did you go about like kind of recruiting Donald on the team?
I did not.
Okay.
I wasn't looking at Donald at all. Travis kept asking about him, probably for 2 events or so, and said, "Hey, we got to look at Donald. Got to look at Donald. We should look at Donald." And eventually wore me down. And he was starting to get some results in singles for sure, right? Because
He got a bronze in singles, I believe, and then he got a decent run in Dallas with Blaine Hovenier. They made quarters, and I just thought, you know, he's so new. And the other part of it was we kept having so many problems in Dream Breakers, and I just felt like he would have large balls when it mattered, you know, which I think he showed out right away.
Yeah, I think it was a great pickup. Happy for the future with Donald, but it was definitely all Travis that made that decision. And I wasn't fighting it, but I wasn't like completely on board. And then just got to see him get a little bit further. And Travis is pretty good at spotting like up and coming talent and knowing like what's going to be good in the future when it comes to pickleball players.
I've been wrong a lot. I'll be honest.
You weren't wrong with, you haven't been wrong with some people.
Some, but I've been wrong quite a few times.
Some pro tennis players.
I
We
can
won't
usually tell
mention
you
again.
who's not going to do well. It's
Yeah.
harder to actually pick who's going to do well.
Well, you have to know like what their,
How much time they're going to.
what's their goals. Yeah.
Well, I think that was what impressed me about Donald is like when I started talking to him about pickleball, it was like he had a genuine interest in getting good at it. Where I think a lot of guys come over and they're just like, hey, it's a money grab. I'm going to grab that loot. And that's the end of it. Where him, I felt like he actually wanted to get good. It's like, all right, well, if you're actually genuinely going to put time in, like, why wouldn't you get good? There would be no reason not to get good. If guys are coming over from their tennis backgrounds and within a year, you know, being successful, well, fuck, you should be too.
Yeah. Yeah.
We just talked the other day, though, about how we've had quite a number of Smash players progress up to the premier level, which has been good, right?
Sure.
So there's definitely been some successes in recruitment that like they've kind of.
Yeah,
We've
part
done-
of that is it's just a small world. The pickleball world is very small. There's only so many good players that you can trade around. But yeah, it's nice to see players like Mari Humberg, who, you know, we thought she's going to be good.
Yeah.
Move up to Premier very quickly. Or, you know, like I think you're going to see a lot of that. I think and that's the point of Challenger, right? It's to see people hopefully progress and advance up to the Premier level, whether it's with the team because the whole team goes up there because we had a good year, or if it's because you're standing out and suddenly, you know, someone offers us a big chunk of money to take Donald, and I'm going to say, see you, Donald. Have fun in Premier. And by big, I mean 10K guys, 15K.
I'll pay that. Can't take my guy like that. Don't do that. I'm having fun.
That's funny. Do you change the way you play during MLP events compared to your regular PPA events?
I try not to, but as I'm playing, I'm learning like some stuff that I can and cannot do or should and shouldn't do. And I'm trying to get just better and figure out what my pace and temperament is and what I need to do at this level or type of event to play and be successful and help the team win. So my goal is I just want to help the team win. Be fair, I want to win for personal reasons because I like to win. It feels good. I don't like the alternative. And on the other end, I like for the team to win and do better. And I want to be an addition and a positive impact.
We talked a little bit about that. Don't you think that, like, obviously the objective is to play the same, but the way that the format is in MLP, it does make you kind of tighten it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it produces the best pickleball all the time, but it does produce heightened drama right away. Like, everything is magnified really quickly. So the intent, I think, is to play the same, but I just don't know if it's actually all the time possible.
Yeah. No, I agree. And the nerves hit a lot quicker
Right.
than they do in a regular format side out because every point counts.
So if you were commissioner then and you were running pickleball, what do you think is a better path forward? Individual events and kind of copying the tennis landscape, or maybe this team thing has some real some legs, and people would care about the city they're in and the players that play for their teams and so on and so forth.
I think, to make it different, because, it's you don't want it to be tennis, because that's why a lot of people I think are playing, because it's not tennis in a sense. But the team aspect, to make it more like a team where you have a place where you train and you got some practice partners, and that's where your team and your group, and you got the you just have everything you need for a team. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think it's just totally different, because tennis, you maybe have 3 events a year, 4 a year that might be team, and that's if you're good enough to even have to play all 3. So some players never even get to experience any of it at the pro level. So, especially from a big country like the United States. So I think the team is awesome, and people can get behind a team. People like playing for teams and supporting their teams, just like all the other big American sports.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I think it's a big thing, is like if a team changes the fabric of a community, then people genuinely care. And a conversation that we've had off and on is that when you're 30 in the world in tennis, it's like you're a second-class citizen to some extent. Whether they're commentating about you playing against Federer and, this guy's basically dog shit. And, here you are, you're an extremely successful professional, but you're not known. Where if you look at the other big sports in the US, you can be the 4th, 5th, 6th guy off the bench and have a couple good weeks and big games, and all of a sudden you have a name, you have clout. That doesn't really happen in tennis because of that individuality. It won't happen in pickleball because the 15th pickleball player in the world is not very well known. And I think that's where teams become really important, because you give the ability to market people and outcomes based on the city that people are in, and maybe the one match that they played gives them a reputation.
Yeah, I agree. 100% there. Having been, played tennis and been in that, 30 to whatever range it goes. Yeah. When you talk to the average person, I remember my mom actually talking to someone at our club, and he was like, "What does he rank now?" He's like 38 in the world. He's like, "Oh, that's all right. That's not bad." And she's like, "What?" There's like 37 people in the whole world that are supposedly better than this person right now, and you're just saying it's all right. It's just something you would never say in any other field. Like the 38th doctor.
Yeah, if you're 38th in the fucking All-Star,
exactly.
you're almost in the All-Star game.
Yeah, you are pretty much.
Bro.
You're probably a reserve or something.
Yeah, you're a reserve in the All-Star game.
And you're the man. You're making 20 million a year, 30 million a year. You like the second option on the team. You're that guy. So
you're that guy.
You are that guy.
You're a schlep. Hey, carry your own bags.
Yeah, 100%. And but it's just a different dynamic, because in tennis as an individual, the same couple people are always in the finals. You're always seeing it on TV.
Right.
The sponsors won around, and the other ones get kind of put to the side, unless you're from a small country where you're their best player and you're everything for that particular, demographic or area.
You got any good examples in pickleball where the 30th guy in the world gets really boosted up being on a team? Any guys that come to mind?
Oh, you're gonna do this?
That live in Minnesota, now in Texas, that you might think benefited from being on a team?
Tell me, I don't remember. Who?
Rhymes with Nain Ravitil.
Oh. Yeah, that's a great example. So, it's amazing to me, actually. Thank you for doing that, Graham. That Ravertil guy. He's actually over there practicing. So he was on, it's a team sport. And that's beautiful, because right now, if you look at the statistics, Ravertil is not having the best season, although much better later. But in all honesty, Zane's a great partner. But the reality is, like, if you look at it purely statistically, he hasn't been great this year for the Fives, but the Fives are an awesome team. So if you just look at objectively, you're like, oh, he's doing great. And we've seen this, and Graham called this a long time ago. I would say, like, what's that person's record on the team? How did they do? It's like, it doesn't matter. What matters is that the team won, and people's clout gets picked up based off of their team winning. It was like, but that doesn't make any sense. They're not winning matches. And in fact, I think Zane at one point was like 0-9 or 1-10 in men's doubles and hadn't won many mixed. Again, much better later, but it's not relevant. He has been a great teammate and been able to build up his team, played his role perfectly, and his individual results are almost, no, they don't matter. In fact, he was on Tennis Channel and they referenced like, hey, you've done really shitty lately, but Annalise carrying you all the dubs. And he was like, team game. And she interrupted. She was like, hey, he's a great partner, great captain. And look, we love Zane. Zane's one of our fucking favorite people out here. But yeah, it's a perfect example of you don't have to be the best player in the world to be a really contributing factor and engage fans and be interesting if you are on a squad and play a great role. So that's a good one to bring up, Graham. Ravertil.
I like that.
Yeah. That's funny. So so Don, you're in Atlanta. That's where you're based out of. I know that you're working on getting a facility built there. Can you tell us a little bit more about how that's going?
Yeah, we're building a 20-court indoor facility in South Georgia, Peachtree City to be specific, and it's gonna be nice. It's called Let's Go Pickleball.
Okay.
Me and a couple of my partners. Those actually were the two guys I first met playing pickleball. I showed up, and it just happened to be those are the two guys that asked me, did I want to play with them?
Nice.
And through that, we talked, played, had conversations, and ended up like, oh, you know, it would be cool, indoor pickleball. And we kind of talked about it. One's in real estate, one's in franchising companies, and it kind of just worked and it gelled. And we've built this relationship that's more than just business now. And I'm really excited, and we look forward to it. It's going to be the only one on the South Side. So
Sweet.
it's going to be really cool, and I just can't wait. And we're all super excited. We just had our groundbreaking last week, where about 200 people showed up and came out, and we're ready to support, and it's exciting.
Sweet. Yeah.
It's
Do you have
great.
any pros out there that you can practice with in that area?
You know, so a guy that I practice with most of the time is Alvaro Terron, and Ken Hamaguchi. He's like a Japanese table tennis player. So he's from Tokyo, and he has this crazy backhand flick, and he was like a ping pong champion over there. So
Wow.
this shot is really nice. And then Marshall Brown and Rafa Hewitt live about an hour south.
Okay.
So I'll practice with them sometimes as well.
Nice. Sweet. That's
Do you
awesome.
think that table tennis players have like a big future in pickleball? I have this belief that they're going to be some of the top pros sooner than later
I think so too.
I do.
because
Yeah.
it translates in the kitchen so well, right?
Mhm. That shot, that flick, that's just not a tennis natural movement that they have that's natural for us. It's
And
like,
tricky. They can hide stuff. They can
Mhm.
hit it with all sort of weird angles.
yes.
Like when I watch even table tennis guys serve,
Mhm.
I can't tell which way they're spinning it. You know, unless you're like and they can spin it six different
That is
directions.
going to be very interesting when those guys
And you
get
have
in.
no
and they're-
idea.
Right,
So when
yeah.
they're starting to do that, and you're like, "Oh crap, which way is this going to come off my paddle when I hit it?"
Yes.
I'm done.
Right.
I can't think that fast. I can't react that fast to those spins.
Right.
Quicker stroke too. Like the shot,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a quicker like
It's tighter,
motion to
quicker,
it. Yeah,
yeah.
right, yeah.
Yeah, we're more elongated as
Yeah.
tennis players. They're very compact
Uh-huh.
and tight.
How about this? See, this happens all the time right here, Donald.
Right.
Two.
little
How old
dudes.
are they? You say 8, 10?
11 maybe.
Look how he's talking
Just
mad
one.
shit.
So 2 10-year-olds just beat up on 30
And the young guy's talking so much shit to him, screaming in the guy's
Yeah,
face.
yeah, yeah.
Donald, that
Oh.
happens in the amateur too,
Wow.
man.
I don't know, bro. I think I would have to. I would have to be
Yeah.
screaming back a little
Yeah,
bit.
100%.
You
Like,
can't,
little
though.
man
If
not
you
talking to me
out
like
there,
that.
you
No,
equally
yeah,
can
then
get
it's
it too.
equal.
Yeah, 100%.
You scream at them,
Yeah,
you're
right.
gonna. The mom's coming on the
Oh, I
court
could care
for you.
less.
Yeah.
I could care. Bring it. Bring it. But I got words for you too.
But that happens all the time because
Yeah.
they've grown up in pickleball now,
Right.
3-4 years of pickleball
Yeah.
at that age, and they're good. They're
Wow.
tricky at the
That's
amateur
true.
level.
I mean, it's so new. It's like tennis in like 60s or like you just
Yeah.
kind of like coming up with like stuff is changing so rapidly.
That's
Yeah.
one that I go with. I think 5 years from now, like I used to think it'll be all the ex-tennis players are going
Yeah.
to be really good. I don't think that anymore.
No,
I think it's going to be
it's-
the kids.
it's
that
these
grew up.
guys.
It's these dudes.
Yeah.
They're going to grow up and be nasty.
5
Yeah.
more years of
They're
doing
going to do all
that.
this tricky shit.
Right,
And it's
yeah.
going to look weird. And I'm like, all right,
exactly.
you guys are good. Like Gabe and Hayden, they fucking trip me out.
Yeah.
I
Maybe the
can say
tennis
love
with the
Hayden
singles,
whenever I
though.
want, by the way, but
Maybe the singles tennis.
nah,
Might still
no,
be
it's
all
still
right in
tennis
singles?
guys. Yeah, they're going to be
Yeah,
good.
they'd be good in the
That's
singles.
different.
Yeah,
Depending on the
different.
paddle, man.
Yeah, right,
paddle
right.
technology,
right.
but they still have a huge advantage there.
That's funny. So this is day 3 of MLP, but second day of the Smash playing. Is that right?
Yes.
So do you want to give us a recap of how things went before and then how things are going to go after?
I'll give
I
the
guess?
recap. It's
All right,
short.
Go ahead.
It's not good.
Yeah. Okay. All
We
right.
got no points so far on Thursday
Yep.
when we played 2 matches.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's a good thing. We can only go up.
Yeah, we got blanked, but we play here in about an hour. In fact, these guys are going to have to get to practice in the next 20 minutes
Yep.
for our 4:30 here on Saturday evening.
You can tell
We
how
have-
hyped I am.
We're going to, and then we play our last one of the season. We play tomorrow night at the same time at 4:30.
Damn.
And I think we got nothing to lose. Finally can
Have some fun.
have some fun,
Play
let
loose.
loose and,
Start some
and
people.
enjoy the end of,
Yeah.
MLP for Florida Smash for 2024.
Yeah. So what teams have we got today?
We play the Atlanta Bouncers today,
Okay.
and we play the Miami Pickleball Club tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah.
So 2 good teams.
Two
Good
tough
teams.
teams,
Yeah.
It's going to be really
Be
fun.
great to just, crush their hopes of getting to the
Yeah.
playoffs.
Have you guys got anything that you might try differently, or are you just going to try and be consistent, just do the same stuff?
I mean, personally, I've been working on a few shots, and I need to. This is a good chance to add them in a slightly lower pressure situation, but as kind of a a conversion into making it something that's more regular for me.
Sweet. Cool.
But the turnout's been great. I mean, we're looking at the stands right now. Center court is packed. Looks like they're having a blast. We can't even do the pod over there because it's too noisy. And good turnout for grandstand and minor league pickleball. It just shows the format. The format's, thriving. It's nice.
Sweet.
It's good for next year.
So we did highlight last night. What have you got planned for us tonight, Graham?
I thought you guys had plans. You're going to a club or something tonight.
No, we're not going.
Oh, sorry.
Not going. I want to go to Fountain Blue, but
We're probably going to go to some restaurant that Ruben picks that Travis will complain about.
well, he asked me this morning if we could go to sushi, but I guarantee he's not going to go to any just normal sushi place. It's be like one where they come and they,
Blow smoke in your face.
Yeah, some bullshit, man.
Nitrogen freeze the rice.
Right. Have you had the one where they freeze and they roll them? Just bring me some fucking ice cream, bro.
I've been to some great restaurants with Ruben also. He doesn't always pick ones that have bad tomahawks.
No, I'm sure he picks great food. My point is that I don't think he is capable of having normal food. I think it has to be like presented in a certain way.
He's a foodie. He's a foodie.
He's a bougie motherfucker. There's a difference.
I think that's foodies.
Yeah.
Okay, fair.
Yeah,
Fair.
right?
Fair.
They're like,
That's
they
fair.
need everything right.
Right.
It's got to be a famous chef. It's got to be the nice ambiance. It's got to
Right.
be the
But yet
tomahawk
he,
comes
but
out
yet he wears
with gold
a
leaf falling
Prince
off
shirt
of it.
every day. He wears the same black Prince shirt every day.
He's
And then overvalues what it costs. And, come on, man. And again, I love Ruben, but Ruben, I'm going to keep making fun of you every fucking day because you need it.
That's awesome. That's all the stuff we had. So any last thoughts from you guys?
Go smash.
How do you feel about being on a podcast called Tennis Sucks?
Hey, hey,
Tell the fans.
It is
Tell the
what it
fans.
is. As long as I'm not the first tennis player on, I'm good.
It took a while for us to get the others. Sam took the bait first.
Yeah.
Then we had Jack, and now we got you.
I'll take the positive side from it.
This doesn't suck. I love watching it. I'm gambling it on it every day.
He's watching a lot more now.
I'm gambling.
Yeah.
And I'm taking lessons, so we're frauds.
No, you take a lesson a week. You got to take more.
I know. I need practice time in between the lessons.
Your actual anyway. Yeah. You're
Sweet.
very talented.
Once Graham gets good, we'll start a second podcast called Pickleball Sucks, and it'll just be about
what you
tennis.
get back for.
Graham
I won't
tennis.
do
All right.
All right.
Cool.
guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Tennis
you,
Sucks.
Donald.
Good luck, Smash.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Later.
Yeah.